For generations we have been told that to truly concentrate we must sit perfectly still. Think of the classic image of a student at a desk, back straight, hands folded and eyes locked forward. We often equate stillness with discipline and focus. However, this long-held belief is not entirely accurate. In fact, for many people the instruction to remain completely motionless can be counterproductive, making it even harder to pay attention. The urge to fidget, wiggle, or shift in your seat is not necessarily a sign of a wandering mind. It could be your body's clever way of helping your brain to lock in and concentrate more effectively on the task at hand. So, what are these small, seemingly restless actions? Scientists refer to them as micro-movements. These are minor, often subconscious physical actions that we perform without much thought. They are typically repetitive and rhythmic in nature. Common examples include gently rocking back and forth in a chair, tapping a finger on a desk, bouncing a leg, or even pacing slowly around a room while deep in thought. You might also notice people clicking a pen, twirling a strand of hair, or doodling on a piece of paper during a meeting. These are not just nervous habits, they are your body's natural tools for self-regulation and maintaining a state of alertness. The reason we instinctively turn to these small movements is rooted in our biology. Our brains are designed to respond to sensory input. When we are forced to sit still for long periods, especially while tackling a mentally demanding task, our brains can become understimulated. This can lead to a state of drowsiness or, conversely, a mind that starts to wander in search of something more interesting. Micro-movements provide a low-level, constant stream of sensory information that helps to keep the brain's arousal systems engaged. This gentle stimulation is just enough to keep you alert and focused, without being so distracting that it pulls your attention away from your work. Therefore, we need to reframe our understanding of what focus looks like. It isn't always about being as still as a statue. For many of us, effective concentration involves a subtle, dynamic interplay between mind and body. The next time you feel the urge to move while you are trying to learn something new or solve a complex problem, it is worth paying attention to that impulse. Instead of fighting it and forcing yourself into rigid stillness, you might find that embracing a small, controlled movement is precisely what your brain needs. This shift in perspective can unlock a more natural and sustainable way to concentrate throughout your day. How can something as simple as tapping your foot possibly help you solve a difficult problem? The answer lies in the fascinating connection between movement and brain function. When you engage in a micro-movement, you are activating parts of your brain that regulate attention and arousal. Specifically, these small, repetitive actions stimulate the release of certain neurotransmitters, which are the chemical messengers in your brain. Key among these are dopamine and norepinephrine. These chemicals are crucial for maintaining focus, motivation, and executive functions like planning and decision-making. By keeping their levels optimal, micro-movements essentially help to tune your brain to the right frequency for deep concentration. These movements also play a vital role in managing stress and anxiety, which are major enemies of focus. When you feel stressed, your body releases cortisol, the primary stress hormone. High levels of cortisol can make it incredibly difficult to think clearly and can impair your memory. Gentle, rhythmic movements have a soothing effect on the nervous system. They can help to lower cortisol levels and calm the body's fight-or-flight response. This is why pacing can feel so calming when you are anxious, or why rocking a baby is such an effective way to soothe them. The same principle applies when you are trying to focus under pressure. A small movement can dissipate nervous energy and create a calmer mental state. Scientific research provides solid evidence to support these ideas. A study published in the Journal of Abnormal Child Psychology found that children with attention deficit/hyperactivity disorder who were allowed to fidget and move around performed better on memory tasks. The researchers suggested that the physical activity helped to increase their level of alertness. Another study from New York University indicated that even minor movements could enhance cognitive performance. Participants who were allowed to rock in their chairs during a learning task showed better recall later on. These findings challenged the traditional classroom model that often punishes children for not sitting still. The benefits extend beyond just attention and memory. These small movements can also help combat mental fatigue. Sitting in one position for a long time can lead to a drop in alertness, often felt as the dreaded afternoon slump. By introducing a little bit of movement, you increase blood flow and oxygen to the brain. This can provide a small but significant energy boost, helping to refresh your mind and sustain your focus for longer periods. It is a simple, built-in mechanism that our bodies use to keep our brains running efficiently, preventing the mental fog that can settle in during long stretches of sedentary work. Incorporating micro-movements into your work or study life does not require a major overhaul of your habits. It is about making small, intentional adjustments that work for you and your environment. One of the easiest ways to start is by changing your chair. If possible, consider swapping your static office chair for one that allows for more movement, such as a rocking chair or a swivel chair that you can gently turn in. Even an exercise ball can be a great option for short periods, as it requires you to make constant, tiny adjustments to maintain your balance, which in turn keeps your brain engaged. The goal is to choose seating that enables, rather than restricts, your body's natural desire for motion. Pacing is another powerful tool, especially when you are trying to brainstorm ideas or work through a complex problem. If you feel stuck or find your thoughts becoming muddled, get up from your desk and walk slowly around the room. The act of walking engages the body in a rhythmic activity that can help to free up your mind and encourage creative thinking. You do not need a lot of space. Even a small office or study area can accommodate a short pacing path. This technique is particularly useful during phone calls or when you are trying to memorize information, as the combination of movement and cognitive effort can strengthen neural connections. Fidget objects are another excellent way to introduce micro-movements without being disruptive to others. These can be anything from a simple stress ball you can squeeze to a fidget spinner or a string of beads you can manipulate with your fingers. These objects provide a tactile outlet for nervous energy, allowing your hands to stay busy while your mind focuses on the task at hand. It is important to choose an object that is quiet and can be used without looking at it, so it does not become a distraction in itself. Keeping one on your desk can be a simple reminder to give your hands something to do when you need to concentrate deeply. Finally, you can build micro-movements directly into your workflow by using simple leg and foot exercises. While sitting at your desk, you can try tapping your feet, bouncing your knees, or using an under-desk elliptical or foot pedal machine. These movements are discreet and can be done without anyone even noticing. They are particularly effective for keeping your alertness levels up during long meetings or video calls when you are required to remain seated. The key is to find one or two simple movements that feel natural to you and make them a regular part of your routine, turning them into a supportive habit for better focus. It is important to recognize that not all micro-movements serve the same purpose. Different types of tasks may benefit from different kinds of motion. For example, if you are engaged in creative work like brainstorming or writing, a larger, more expansive movement like pacing can be incredibly effective. The physical act of walking around can help to stimulate broader, more associative thinking, allowing new ideas to connect and flow more freely. This type of movement breaks the mental rigidity that can sometimes come from sitting still, opening up new pathways for thought. It is about creating a physical state that mirrors the open, exploratory mental state needed for creativity. Conversely, when you need to perform a task that requires deep analytical focus, such as editing a document, coding, or solving a mathematical problem, a smaller, more contained movement is often better. Repetitive, rhythmic actions like tapping a finger, gently rocking, or using a fidget object can help to narrow your focus and block out external distractions. These subtle movements act like a steady rhythm that helps to quiet the noise in your mind, allowing you to concentrate intensely on the details in front of you. This is about using movement to create a calm, stable, and highly focused mental environment for meticulous work. There are also times when the primary goal is not to sharpen focus for a task, but to calm down after a stressful event. Perhaps you have just finished a difficult meeting or received some challenging news. In these situations, slow, gentle, and rhythmic movements are most beneficial. Slowly rocking in a chair, taking a mindful walk, or even engaging in deep, diaphragmatic breathing, which is itself a form of internal micro-movement, can help to regulate your nervous system. These actions signal to your brain that the threat has passed, helping to lower your heart rate and reduce feelings of anxiety. This is about using movement as a tool for emotional recovery. Ultimately, the most important advice is to listen to your body. Our bodies are incredibly intelligent and often know what they need long before our conscious minds do. Instead of trying to force yourself into a rigid mold of what you think focus should look like, pay attention to your natural impulses. If you feel restless, try a gentle movement and see if it helps. Experiment with different types of micro movements to discover what works best for you and for different kinds of tasks. By embracing this connection between your body and mind, you can unlock a more intuitive, effective, and less stressful path to concentration.